Hey friends, welcome back to the Autry Benton Show. If you're watching today's show and you feel like you've reached the end of your story or do not know where to turn, I want you to hear clearly, God is not finished with you. One season, one setback, one chapter does not define your entire life. God is still writing your story. That truth is exactly why I'm excited about today's guest. Joining me is my good friend, straight from the pride of Autry, South Carolina, TJ Johnson. TJ has lived a life full in a short amount of time he's been on this earth. He's excelled at college football at the University of South Carolina, was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, and has gone on to do incredible things beyond his NFL career. His life is a powerful reminder that God always has more for us. So let's hear TJ's story. TJ, thank you for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm just honored you be here. You know, we haven't known each other a long time, but I feel like we've packed a lot in there and we've had some deep conversations. And man, I so appreciate your friendship, and I'm always a better person and always challenged every time we talk.
Well, thank you very much.
For sure. And man, gosh knows, I'm excited to everybody hear your story. You know, much like I said in the opening, you know, I think sometimes we try to define somebody by just a segment of their life or whatever, but you're just a good thing that like many different chapters. So I would love for you to take us through the chapters of your life, starting at childhood. Kind of tell us, what was TJ like as a kid, and tell us about growing up.
What was I like as a kid? I was raised in a Christian family. My parents, from the time really that I was born, I remember going to church with them, and always had a love for sports. And so my dad, growing up, we played baseball and basketball and football, about everything that I could do with a ball we played. And that's kind of the early memories that I remember of childhood, is just spending time with family and doing something with sports at all times.
That's good. Tell us about your mom and dad and your siblings.
Okay, I have one sister. She's 2 years younger than me. And then my dad's name is Tony Johnson. He works for a company called Spectrum Paints. And then my mother is a school teacher at Autry Elementary. I think she teaches third grade. It's either second or third. She kind of flips around from time to time.
Yeah. You know, as you know, I knew your parents before you, and I'll tell you what, I'm not just saying this, you got some of the finest parents on the face of the earth. I love your parents, man. Are you and your sister a lot alike?
No.
No? Tell us the differences.
My sister's a lot smarter than I am.
Come on now. She must be brilliant then.
No, I think me and my sister have very different personalities. She's gifted in different ways than I am, and so forth. So, I mean, we're still very close, but very different. She didn't really go the sports path. She went more medicine, and she does pharmaceuticals and different things like that. So she's a lot smarter than I am, Autry.
I know you mentioned sports early on, and I think that's how a lot of people know you, but did you instantly love it? Did you love sports?
Yes, I did instantly love sports, but not football.
Not football. Tell us.
So interestingly enough, growing up, I mean, being in Autry, baseball's king.
Absolutely.
And so I wanted to play baseball, even in high school and so forth. I had a batting cage in the backyard, and I can remember before school, Daddy would throw me thousands of pitches. Wasn't even going to play football. And I remember going in, I think it was about my 9th, 10th grade year, I remember telling my father that I was going to pursue baseball, and he just encouraged me lovingly to think about that, because you'll never get that time again. And fortunately for me, I thought about it and ended up playing. It was interesting because between my sophomore and my junior year of high school, I went from about 235 to 310. So
think about that's a lot of growth, man.
It became clear that football was going to be the path, especially after that.
Yeah. And backing up a little bit, so were you playing football at all along with baseball? You just leaned towards baseball?
No, I was playing both of them. Okay. And then, you know, at different seasons I would wrestle, and I did track and some other different things like that. But I was always just sort of geared toward baseball. You know, I did the travel baseball scene growing up and different things like that. It was just always my primary love.
Yeah. And just knowing your dad, you know, I can see him, I can't see him being a pushy guy. He just guided you and let you do what you love. Is that fair to say?
No, it's absolutely fair to say. I looking back, it was an example you know,
Yeah.
even in how I want to lead my children, because
Yeah.
he wasn't pushy at all. It's not like I was going to quit, you
Yeah.
know, because I hadn't started it, but he was just challenging me to think through the implications of that, because once that opportunity is gone, you're not going to be able to go back.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I hear what you just said, like going into high school, TJ wanted to play baseball. And if I understand right from other conversations, pitching was what you loved. Like you were a heck of a pitcher, right?
I had started getting letters for baseball actually before I even did for football.
Yeah.
Love to pitch. I love to I love to hit and different things too, but I was always better at pitching, I think, than anything else.
Wow. Wow. So grew between your freshman and sophomore year, is that what you said, or sophomore, junior?
Sophomore, junior year.
Sophomore year, junior. So tell us, like, grew that much, like it just became apparent to you, football, like when did it really switch, and like, you know, football was at the top of the list, and even in your own mindset, how you looked at high school football. Tell us about that.
I think by default, when you're 310 pounds,
It's there.
you're kind of limited.
Yeah.
I ended up wrestling, which at that time, and I'm not sure if it's still this way or not, but the highest weight bracket was 285.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the best things that I had done, was wrestle, because it forced me to drop some of the fat off.
Yeah.
And I got leaner and so forth. But by default, because I was heavier, I was kind of limited to football. I remember coming out of earlier in middle school, I'd been like a fullback, right? So I got to tote the rock, and that was always a lot of fun for me. We had a new coach that moved down from New York.
Okay.
And he made me put my hand on the ground, you know, as a lineman.
Yeah.
And so we still joke about that to this day, because I was so mad at him, because I went from, you know, running the football to putting my hand on the ground, but then it ended up being a pretty good move.
Blessing, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, take us on, you're progressing through your high school career. When did you start getting a lot of interest from colleges? Tell us how that looked, and even the recruiting season of your life.
Yeah. The recruiting season, it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of coaches that are reaching out to you. They're, you know, telling you how great you are and so forth. But really, I owe a lot to Jody Jenrett, who was my football coach in high school. And Jody, he did so much for me. I was in Ainer. We were not winning a ton of games, but as far as sending film out and getting me ready, Jody did a great deal for me in that.
Wow, that's good. So you visited a lot of campuses, talked to a lot of coaches. How long did that process take for you? I mean, like, was it your senior season, junior season?
No, if I recall correctly, I committed going into my senior year.
You went to senior year?
I think I had 14 or 15 D1 offers. I knew I wanted to stay in state, and I really wanted to play in the SEC. And so when South Carolina offered, I pretty much committed shortly thereafter.
Yeah, you know you're my favorite Gamecock, don't you?
Well, good.
Was it ever close with another school at all? I mean,
Yeah, I really enjoyed Tennessee, but as I was kind of going through those conversations, Philip Fulmer was there. That was the year that Fulmer got fired.
Oh yeah.
So that big transition just kind of wiped that out. I had some conversations with Notre Dame and thought about that, but Indiana's a long way from home. I knew that I wanted to go to Carolina. Just the momentum that they had with Spurrier there. Again, I think some of the best advice that I got from somebody actually locally was, you can go play football wherever you want to go, but the reality is the sort of network that you'll have from staying at an in-state school is worth thinking about, post football, and that's proven to be true.
That's great. Okay, so go to University of South Carolina. Tell us about the college years playing at University of South Carolina. Probably it's one of the best stints in University of South Carolina history. Y'all did great things, TJ. Tell us about that time period.
Oh, it was the best time that you could possibly have been a Gamecock.
Yeah.
That's the longest stretch of wins that the school's had. Most of the guys, or a lot of the guys that I played with, went on to play in the NFL. It was just a magical time to be there.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. That's great. So, and you had correct me if I'm wrong, the most stars. Tell us that stat. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. Currently, I have the most starts in South Carolina history at 53.
Yeah, at center, correct?
Center and guard.
Center and guard. Yeah.
Yes,
Which do you prefer?
I don't know how to answer that. They're both unique. I enjoyed center.
Yeah.
But that doesn't come without its challenges. There's certain things I liked about guard better, certain things I liked about center better.
Yeah. And if I remember from some of our other conversations that like nutrition, lifting weights, like how did your body change, nutrition and like just training? Like what changed from high school to college? You know?
Yeah, so I redshirted.
Okay.
And so that gave me, it's hard, especially, now again, I'm SEC guy, so I'm partial to SEC. It's hard to come into the SEC as a true freshman and as a true freshman lineman and start, because it's a different world from high school.
Yeah.
So redshirting it gave me a year to begin working out, begin learning the system, because it's a totally different system going from very simplistic high school football to understanding how to identify a mic and understanding what all's going on. So that was really helpful for me. It helped me get my body prepared. We used to have red shirt workouts that were awful.
Yeah.
But it was really good for me in preparation for, the next 4 years.
Yeah. Wow. And you had a tremendous class of players around you. I mean, y'all were talented, buddy.
Very much.
Very much, yeah. Kind of a funny story. I'm probably not going to say it or I'm telling a story. So like Lawson, you're my favorite Gamecock. We kind of leaned towards the Tigers. Came out of church, saw your South Carolina tag. I don't know if you remember this, whatever. He saw TJ had a South Carolina tag on his truck, and Lawson says, "Oh, them Gamecocks." And TJ put his hand on my young son's back and said, "Buddy, I've never lost to University of Clemson. I never lost to Clemson. I beat them every year I was there." And I was like, "Buddy, we learned humility while TJ Johnson was a Gamecock." So great years, man, for sure. Everybody's always interested. You played for a legendary coach. Like, tell us about Coach Spurrier or something that, that the audience might not know, or just anything on that subject.
Coach Spurrier is a very interesting guy. As far as stories that I can share, I think that one thing that a lot of people don't realize about Coach Spurrier is that he's a germaphobe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember that whenever I was getting recruited, I shook hands with Spurrier one time. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think much of it, but after that, I never shook hands with him again. Well, that year that I redshirted, all the red shirts used to have to go and mingle with the recruits whenever they'd come into every game and so forth. But I remember watching Coach Spurrier, and he used to have an assistant behind him, and he'd go and he'd shake hands with the recruits. And after every single time, he'd reach his hand behind him, and his guy would be back there squirting hand sanitizer in his hands after every time he shook the hand. So it was just always kind of funny, very peculiar about germs, about food. In fact, he hated the way offensive linemen ate.
Really?
Yeah, just hated the way we ate. But an excellent coach. I think one of the things about Coach Spurrier, one of the strengths, at least of our team, was the assistant staff that he put together. Mm-hmm. We had, not only did we have a really good group of players, but the staff that he put together for that team was incredible.
Wow, that's interesting. Good. So great success. Tell us about coming towards draft day and getting drafted, and how all that looked, going from college to pros.
You never know what's going to happen, especially toward the end, because you start having conversations with agents, and then there's all these projections that such and such is going to go here, such and such is going to go there. I ended up choosing an agent. The agent that I chose, one of the reasons that I chose him was that he represented Reggie White. And so Reggie White, known as a strong example of his faith and so forth, I got to meet with him, had wonderful conversations with this agent that represented him, and just felt good about that. And part of what the agent does is they will send you to go off and train. So I went and trained at CES in Atlanta with Chip Smith. Had a great time there. They did an excellent job preparing you for the combine, and that's a whole nother different kind of training, because it's not just football drills and so forth. You're doing everything from getting measured to see how far your hands are, to how flexible you are, to the Wonderlic test, which test IQ, it's a whole collaboration of things that you have to think about and prepare for. So I went and did that. And then I came back. I had interesting interviews there. the NFL Combine, they try to do everything they can to put you on the spot.
I got you.
And so in some of the interviews, you have personal interviews with teams where they'll invite you and come in. I remember walking into an interview with the Saints, and Sean Payton was there, and I remember they had me sit there, so it's me in this room with all the coaches.
Right.
And they got to, film up, and they kind of butter you up. They show you probably your 5 best plays that you've had in your career. And like, man, this is why we want you. This looks so good. But then right after that, they make you sweat because they'll show your 5 worst plays.
Right.
And it's like, what are you thinking? Why did you do that? So it kind of turns the dial up on you to see how you respond to pressure. And there's a bunch of those kind of situations there at the Combine. Coaches are kind of watching to see how you react to certain things. And so the Combine was a very interesting experience. But then after that, it was just come back and kind of wait on draft day.
Yeah. Wow. So tell me about draft day.
Draft day, we did it. My family and my wife now, we were just dating at the time. We had all gotten together and we ate. I was hearing projections everywhere from day 2 to day 3. Those things are so wide, you have no idea. You have coaches call you every day. If such and such takes them, we're going to take you and that kind of thing. But man, it just kept getting later and later and later. And I remember it got to be day 3, and I was starting to sweat a little bit because I really didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And it's getting day 3, and it's round 7.
Yeah.
The last round.
Yeah.
And I'm really sweating. I remember just walking out to the truck and just thinking, well, what am I going to do? My father come out there with me, and I remember sitting in the truck with him.
Yeah.
And he was very encouraging, but it was about that time that my phone rang, and it was Marvin Lewis. And that was a joyful moment that I got to share with him. There was a security camera on the side of the building that we were in. You can see my dad, running across and jumping and run back in the house and tell everyone. So it was kind of funny, but it was a special moment. And I think that in a lot of ways was beneficial for me.
Yeah.
Because coming into the league, I got in, but I barely got in.
Yeah.
And so that sort of drove me and kept me hungry.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, that's great. So, and I know we got a lot of life to tell here quick. So, tell me about your time. How many years were you in the NFL?
I was in the NFL for 5 years.
Yeah.
All 5 were spent there with Cincinnati.
That had to be special to be at the same place.
It was, and almost unheard of. So I was very fortunate to be able to stay there, and I played into a second contract, didn't finish the second contract out.
What would you say was your biggest takeaway about playing in the league?
Ooh, I don't know.
It's just different in college?
Game speed, everything is a lot faster. It's very different than college.
Yeah.
In college, even in terms of the coaching and different things like that, in college, you got coaches that just ride you and drive you and push you and that kind of thing. In the NFL, if you don't do your job, you lose it.
Yeah.
So it's very different. My experience was very different in the NFL.
Yeah, that's great. Good deal. So you came to an end. You're coming out. Did you know what you were going to do next?
Had no idea.
No idea. Did you know you're coming home?
No. We had no idea what we were going to do. Jamie was pregnant with the twins.
You were married by this point?
I was married by that point. Jamie was pregnant with our twins. So we had already had a little girl, and she was pregnant we had identical twin boys, Luke and Micah. And we decided that we would, initially we were debating on staying. She loved it there because whenever I was playing in Cincinnati, we had bought a house in Kentucky. Loved the area. You get all 4 seasons and so forth. So we did that. But as we were kind of wrestling with it, the church that we were a part of, I'd gotten to be real close with the pastor there. And he had asked me if I would consider coming on staff there. And it was the first time that I'd ever thought about any sort of ministry, pastoral ministry, anything like that. So that started getting the ball turning. But over the course of time, he ended up leaving, and we had 3 kids. We wanted to figure out how we could get home to get help. Both sets of grandparents are in Aner, so we wanted to get home and get some help.
Got you. So as we transition to Aner, would you say that that's the call of ministry kind of started at that point, or you felt it early on or whatever? I mean, I know that's a big question.
Well, as far as call to ministry goes, that was the first time that I thought about it. Then I found out that the NFL pays for continuing education. So I had started to pursue seminary.
Okay.
Not to be a pastor.
Okay. Just love the Lord, wanted knowledge.
Yeah, I love theology. Public speaking was my biggest fear. Playing football in front of 100,000 people, that doesn't bother me at all. Put me in front of 3 people to speak, and it always messed me up. But as I came back, I got asked to do a lot of different speaking at youth events and a lot of different speaking at men's ministry events and different things. So I started to get more and more comfortable. A local church in the area had asked me to fill the pulpit, and that was whenever I really sensed the call to ministry. And what was so comforting about that is what I was feeling internally was validated by that church.
Yeah. So in the midst of that question, there was something that I found very interesting about you. It's about the time we met each other, turkey calls. Tell us about turkey calls, TJ. Like, I don't think people realize you're a turkey call maker and a phenomenal hunter. Tell us about that segment of your life.
Yeah, we kind of blew past that.
Yeah.
When I first retired, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life.
Yeah.
And I loved woodworking. I loved hunting. So put them together and start building turkey calls. I got in with a legendary call maker in the area. His name was Marlon Watkins, and got to be very close with him. Marlon had kind of taught me how to build. He's got his own design box call, so we started tinkering, and I played with it, and I ended up building a call, and I entered it into the 2018 Grand National Championship in Tennessee. And that call ended up winning the national championship. I got Call Maker of the Year. The following year, all the former winners can compete in a category called Champion of Champions, and I was able to win that. And so for about 2 or 3 years before we moved back, I was building turkey calls full time.
Yeah. And you know, I think this tells us something about you. We already know, no matter what you do, you're going to do it right and you're going to win, you know, and you're talented, man. And I remember going in your shop and seeing blocks of wood, and TJ says, Autry, this block of wood is for this purpose and this purpose and this purpose. Honestly, and I know you'd be very modest about it, you could have made a very good living and built a tremendous business off of making turkey calls, right?
Oh yeah, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but it's nothing compared to what I get to do now.
Yeah, and that transitions into where you're at today. Tell us what you're doing today.
Currently, I'm serving as a pastor at Lakeside Baptist Church. That's in North Myrtle Beach. I am continuing education. I will finish my MDiv in the first part of next year and plan on continuing pursuing a PhD.
I got you. Okay, so we skip fast. And the one thing that's come evidently, abundantly clear to me, TJ, I've got to bring you back because we have skimmed over a lot, and there's a lot there and a lot. So you got to agree to come back. But tell us, okay, at this point, how many kids you got?
At this point, I got to count them. Let's see, I got Kylie. She is 8. I have Luke and Micah. They are identical twin 6-year-olds, and we just had about 2.5 months ago another one, Samuel. So we got 4.
You live in Aner, South Carolina now?
We live in Aner, South Carolina.
Right now, and you're on staff at Lakeside Baptist Church.
On staff at Lakeside Baptist Church.
Pursuing more education.
Yep, continuing education.
And I think it's important for our audience to know at this point, TJ loves to study. TJ is a reader and a learner. When you get in deep conversations, you always challenge me, but like, you're a thinker, buddy. Tell me about that. I mean, deep love and just knowledge,
Well, yeah, I do enjoy rigorous study.
Yeah.
I think it's the greatest message in the world.
Amen.
And as a pastor, I think I owe it to my people to be well prepared.
Yeah.
And so I want to know as much as I can. I think the better you know something, the easier it is to talk about. So I just delight in the Lord and studying as much as I can about Him.
Yeah, and you kind of hit there. One thing that we're going to hit next time is you're a tremendous cook, and you love cooking. This guy can cook, but the last thing I'd like for you to finish out with is ministry. Tell us about your relationship with the Lord and why that's important to you, and maybe a misconception the world has out there. Just a message you want to give our community.
So ask that a little bit differently.
Tell us about your faith. You know, if you could boil your faith down to tell our community, you know, why it's important to you again. You know, tell us about your faith. You know, what do you believe in? You know, very concise in like 30 seconds.
And man, Autry, there's so much to say there. I'm kind of at a loss for words, just trying to simplify that. The Westminster Catechism says that man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. It is the purpose to which we were created for.
Yeah.
And I think that whenever we remember that who we are and who our identity is in Him, it shapes everything about us.
Amen. Our Savior Jesus, right?
That's right.
That's good. TJ, you got to come back, buddy.
I would love to.
Thank you for coming and seeing us today. You know, as we end today, I just want to say, as I started, you know, how do you pack somebody's life in 30 minutes and tell us about it? TJ's going to come back, but different segments. And TJ's still a very young man that's going to do a lot for Christianity, for his belief, and for his church, and for his family. So if that's you today and you feel like you're dreaming up your road, just go work hard at something, apply yourself, and know God's got a great plan for your life. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
In our next show, we speak with one of the sponsors of the first annual Salute to Veterans held in Myrtle Beach. Don't miss it.